All right, class. Thanks for attending this very quick not modeling to 3D printing, how to prepare the file. So I'm going to run through. So you should be able to recognize some of the features, and from there you can continue to explore the software. So from the top view, I'm going to double click. And here you see the 4 viewports of Rhino. And I'm going to double click again to perspective view. Otherwise, the shortcut would be at the bottom here. You could click top view, perspective view, top, front, right. Okay, so just go straight to top, and I'll just explain to you the commands that we'll be covering. So it will be surface command, revolve, loft, extrude, and blend on this model. And then after that, we continue to do further editing with most likely a clipping plane command that we could exercise and see that section of the model. So follow on, we will try a basic mesh command export, mesh command, and then with the export command. So let's get going with perspective view, which allow us to see this a lot better. Okay, so I am going to start using the revolve command on this part of the surface. And the command is found here, surface revolve. Select curve, enter, start of axis, and center. So this is the turning axis of this curve. And looking at the command at the top here, it says 0, enter, and 360. Yep. So we get a 360 of this. So currently the view that I'm setting, it's ghost, so that I can semi-see through the curve component at the bottom of the screen of the surface. All right, so let me carry on. So the next command that I will be looking at, it's loft, surface and loft. I'm gonna do a direct loft of these two curves. It's an open curves. And I press spacebar again to repeat the command and loft. Done. Okay, so that very basic loft is done, followed by extrude, surface, extrude surface. Yeah, that's right here. Straight. Select the curve, the circle, enter. Well, you can raise this higher. I have no definition of what number is that, but it's fine. Just beyond this curve that we have. Right, so followed by surface blend. That's our last command. I'm going to pick on this and then this two edges. So currently you see a surface blend command executing for you. Obviously, this is too much, and we're not going for curvature. We're going for tangency, tangency. And again, of course, this is more than what we require. And obviously, you can use the slider, number slider, and then drop it to 0.25 each end. Okay, and at this junction, I'm pretty happy with it. But just for a additional information, if you realize that this blend is a bit curved from this angle, it is because we have another option that we can just let the software know, the command knows that we can use the same height command. Okay, but I think we like this curve. Okay, we'll stick with the default, but just select it down, otherwise it looks off from the modeling itself. So, okay. So generally, we have set up the surfaces in this perspective. Okay, so I'm going to continue. So we're going to use the trim command, cap command, filler edge, shell, clipping plane. All right, so I'm going to change view to shaded. So first thing first, I will do my trim command. Trim can be found here. Okay, otherwise it will be edit trim. Okay, so trim command, it's here. I'm going to select this surface as my cutting objects and press enter when, if this is the only selection, enter. And I will start picking the surfaces that is something that I do not want. Okay, done. Yep, done. Good. So next trim, I'm going to trim away this portion here. Okay, so what are we going to use? Trim. We're going to use this, and this, and of course this surface to help us. Enter. And I'll pick on this external area. Okay, so if you press enter, you are very close. We have probably one more step to go with one more trim. It's at the bottom. So trim again, edit trim. I'm gonna pick on this command, this and this. Okay, enter. So maybe just to show you what I'm trying to get rid of is this two and this one. Enter. Okay, so once we are at this junction here, we're gonna join the surfaces up. Okay, because currently they are single. Okay, select all of them and join. Okay, do not worry about the color you have, or I have, because I have set the negative surface looking this way. All right, so next command that we want to work on after join, I probably have missed out join here, but let me just change this. The trim, we need to join. All right, so you can just double click on the command if you want to add some information for yourself. So once it's joined, I can use the command solid and cap. So once I cap, the model becomes positive. Okay, so I'm gonna hide all the curves. Excuse me, the curves are here. All the curves, and I hide them. Okay, so what we are looking at is the poly surface of this knob. So the next command we will be using is edit and excuse me, solid, and it's found at filler edge. Filler edge. Okay, so there's two sets of filler edge that we will do. So the first one that we will work on, it's the radius that we want to work on is 2 for this. Okay, that's a 2. Okay, decently is done. We're gonna filler edge again, solid filler edge, and we're gonna work on a 1. Okay, but I'm gonna use Windows to just help me to Windows out the edge for me. Okay, enter, enter. Okay, filler edge is done. All right, so we have filler edge done. The next command that we want to use is shell. Okay, so what we did was 2 for the big one and 1 for the smaller ones. Okay, so I'm gonna do a shell command. I'm gonna type in shell as HEL command, and the thickness I'm probably gonna hit 1.2. Okay, I'm just gonna rotate at the bottom of this and select this aerial surface where the shell is gonna take place. Enter. All right, so I'm done with shell. Okay, I have mentioned clipping plane here, so I can demonstrate what clipping plane is. Helps too. But for now, I'm going to select on my model and select object properties. I am going to switch off my ISO curves, so it makes the model looks clean without ISO curves. Okay, I probably hide this too. All right, so I'm just going to my right front view. No, my right view. Okay, and I'm gonna type in clipping plane. Enter. And software asks me where is my first corner. I dictate this first corner, and then this is the other corner. So, well, just for now, I'm gonna go perspective. It happens at right here on this axis. Okay, so the main thing that if this is your first time using clipping plane, you need to enable clipping plane. Enable. Okay, select enable clipping plane and select it. Okay, so once you enable clipping plane, don't get panicked. Sometimes your scene is gone. What you need to do is select the plane. With the gumball help, you can just run this through. Okay, and Rhino will show you nicely how the model looks like in the internal. Okay, so that's clipping plane. Of course, if you go to the top view and try to adjust it to the center, use the gumball and say you want to have it 90 degree. Let's look at perspective again. It's the other way around. Okay, so clipping plane is very useful, but at the same time, yeah, your text will be missing as well following the clipping plane. So just bear in mind that if you don't see anything like this, it has to do with the clipping plane. So what if you decided to turn this off? There is no height. Height doesn't work for clipping plane. What you meant is you want to disable. So you can disable, just type in disable clipping plane and select that. Okay, so for this, once I'm going to shift this away. All right, so we have technically finished the knob model. Okay, the next part session that we want to work on is preparing this in mesh. So if you are going to use CNC machining or 3D printing to make this model, you need to prepare them in mesh. So I will just illustrate the easiest and the most essential part to prepare your model. So go to mesh from Nerds Object, select this model knob, enter. All right, so the default is whatever that you see. Refine mesh if you want, simple. Okay, this is the slider, or some of you might be looking at this, or you can click on detail control. Let's go to the basic one. So if you click more polygons, let's do a simple polygon. I'll show you the difference. So it created a mesh within the model. So what you do is pick the selection choice and drag the mesh out. Okay, so this is fewer polygon, and I'm going to select this to make another mesh, but this time around more polygon. Say okay. Select mesh again and drag this up. Okay, so this seems to be the fastest method. If you ask me, and if you do not have time to consider the other options, then make sure that you have more polygon counts for printing or for machining. The main reason is because of this. I will show you. So if you say fewer polygon, you sometimes have these problem. Okay, and they are kind of straight line in this view. But if you say that you want more polygon, the edges here seems to be much rounder. So the choice is very clear. We will pick on this to do our printing or our machining. But if you want to explore further, and what you can do is we click on details control. There's many choices here. Okay, and sometimes I just go straight to this. I'll explain to you this really quickly, and I said refine, simple planes, and sometimes I'll just put this like I don't know, 1000. Okay, and say okay. So what it does is oops, I pick on the mesh and drag this out. What it does is it remeshed it, but in a more even way. But if I put 1000, the difference between these fillet here becomes, you can see the difference. So it intensify the meshes here in thousands. Okay, and yeah, if you want to do that, otherwise you can just slide to more polygon count and leave this. Okay, so one last bit before I export this for printing, which I will print, and then I'll show you in the images as part of it. Is this analyze age, show ages, and I'll pick on this, and there's a naked ages. Okay, so there's no naked ages, so I'm good. Okay, so I'm done. And what I can do is I'll select this, file export selected, and select STL. Nope. Simple, save, done. Okay, so I will end my session here. I hope you enjoyed the video, very quick explanation, and I'll make sure that the file that you got is downloadable. Thank you.